Hello everyone, I'm Fernando from Group C Theramind, and I'm going to talk about why we chose Jira and what other software we considered and how we're planning to use it. So, first of all, we were analyzing another softwares to use. For instance, we were seeing in here or in here and in here, which talk about different uh, project management softwares that are not now being used the most and what are the main characteristics of each. So what we saw in most of the software project management was that most of them had a specific use to it, like there was a speciality for each software. And given that our software is very broad and multidisciplinary in some ways, we decided to use a more general software. And Jira, of course, satisfied this need. As you can see in here, there's like a little bit of a description for each of these softwares. For instance, Monday is very well known for its uh, workflow automation, or ClickUp it's known for its replacing multiple separate tools, etc. So given that we analyzed everything and taking into consideration the prices, of course, we saw that prices do not vary so much. Of course, right now in our own Jira, we're not paying for anything just yet. This is the free version, but the billing plans that there are for the different softwares, are not so different. So we took the liberty in that sense to choose Jira. Another quite important consideration we took when choosing Jira is that some members of this team have had professional experience working with Jira. Not only myself, but I will talk for myself that I have used it before at Schneider Electric, a French company, and it has proven to work really well in similar projects in which I've been involved in, which is software development, of course. And it's quite customable, which is another consideration we took really seriously when choosing which software to use. I'm going to use to demonstrate a little bit of how customizable it can be in one example that I will show you right now. So when you do a task, you have different steps to be done, but the workflow, it's not predefined. This is a workflow we as team decided to design in which it would fit our interests the best way, which I will show you how it works precisely later on. But this is just an example on how really customable it really can be, and it's really even more customable when you play the full version. So hopefully in the future we can pay it, and we can even change the dashboard into our own logo or brand, etc. The previous introduction, now I will show you precisely how we intend to use it during the development of our project. So first of all, I have to make a quick introduction on how Jira works. And how Jira works, it's that every single of these folders is called an epic. An epic is like a main category in which different tasks could fit in, right? So this will of course differ a little bit from our WBS, which may be more specific, but in our experience, and how it really works is that epics are quite broad and you can fit in a lot of different tasks in it. We try to make it as specific as possible, but I will show you how we intend to use it and the importance of using it well and correctly, of course. So, for instance, the epics have a beginning and an end date, in which we open them and we have different tasks. As you can see, each task, of course, since this is an example, they still don't have every task. It doesn't have its beginning and end date because, as you can see, there are in their to do phase. But I will show you how it works. So when you create a little task, say API, which is quite not quite very specific, but a description is usually included in, for instance, connect, Google, Gmail, login, right? So Now, I was the one who created this little task, hence I'm the reporter, but you are not necessarily the one who is going to work on this task, right? So you have to, of course, assign a certain person to work on it. So you can assign it to yourself, which I won't in this case, but you can assign it to, I don't know, Raksha, for instance, right? And you now know that Raksha, as a project manager, you will see this board and you will know who is working on it and in which phase it is. So in this case, when you're in the to-do phase, you're still not working on it. You still haven't begun to work on it, right? So let's say I want to modify this and I want to give a beginning and an end date. I want this task to be started on Monday and I want it to be finished by Friday at the latest, right? Let's do that. So Raksha now knows the beginning and the end date of this little task, no? So imagine I'm Raksha for the sake of this demo and I see this task and I'm like, okay, I'm going to begin working on it. So I will define it that I'm now in progress, right? So the next time the project manager sees this little timeline, he will know that Raksha has begun this little activity. Afterwards, let's say if, Raksha thinks she's finished and she says, okay, I'm done. But of course, we have to go through a little bit of a quality assurance process in every task we do, not only in our QAs that we have a specific section right here, but for every task, uh, mostly in software development, every little thing you do must be assessed by a group of people before it's even approved to be done, right? So the next step is that it's in the checked or review phase, no? Afterwards, when they review the code or whatever the task is, if the reviewer considers that it's not okay, then the reviewer will say, okay, this is denied. And when it's in denied, it will go back into in progress. Now, later on, where Raksha fixes the issues, now you're going to review section again, and if everything goes well, it's done, and it's now finalized, and it's even cropped, right? So you know the beginning and the end of this, and also you know the finalized of this. So you can, of course, you can just set a beginning date without an end date, and that way you will know how long it took. For instance, if I want to modify this date, right? So let's say like I want this to begin on Monday, right? But I do not know when it's due. When this person finishes the task, he or she must report that this task is done, and hence we will know as a project manager, we will have track that this was done from this day to another day, and it took certain working hours, which is quite important in this case, no? So that's basically how it works. Another quick important thing to do is, for instance, there are also teams that you can label each task for. For instance, this every task of the QA must be in the QA team, right? And you can create as many teams as you want, of course. For instance, in here, I can create a software developer development team. So create a team in which software development, right? It's quite broad, but just to give an example, and let's say I want to include Adrian Pop, right, and myself, and we create a team, and we now have a new team. There we go. We can see the new team in here, just to show how it works. And yeah, so that's quite how Jira works and how we plan to use it and how it's important for our task. So even in here, this is a little board, which is important. So let's say that I am in here and I will say that it's in progress, right? So I see that this is now in progress, and let's say that in progress, and afterwards I want it to be checked. So you know which tasks are done, which haven't been started, which have been started, and which are in the review section, which is quite important for project development success. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Just as a final consideration, it's important to mention that you can connect GitHub repositories in here, right? Which is quite important, right?